Hey, Dalton here, and guess what? I'm back in South Carolina, Charleston, to eat some more delicious food with my buddies Shane and Mike. Let's go. How many more places we gonna eat at? Boom.
Swig and Swine was our first stop, as it did two things I love: amazing southern barbecue and cocktails. The smoked vermouth in this Manhattan took a drink I already love and gave it a great smokiness on the nose, but kept a smooth finish at the end. And the only way to do southern barbecue is by getting a massive plate of everything. Swig and Swine does their own homemade sausages, and you can tell by the snap of that casing and the nice spice kick. Ribs have a nice gloss to them and are seasoned perfectly. My only complaint, I just wish they had a little bit more meat on these bones. I've said it before, I am a sucker for juicy, fatty pork belly, and this tender, fatty slice was everything I expected from it, and then some. The smoked turkey was alright, and the seasoning was on point and juicy, but honestly, it paled in comparison to the brisket, which was so tender it was barely holding on to my fork. The pulled pork was also a star, and with a little bit of vinegar sauce on white bread, made for a great combination. But listen to the crunch of these dry rub wings. Wow. This was the biggest surprise. These dry rub wings had great flavor and may have been my favorite part of the entire meal. Swank Desserts is a dessert shop with a regularly changing menu, so I recommend just getting a box with a bunch of different options. Seasonal stuff like a pumpkin spice macaroon is nice, but honestly, this caramel apple macaroon managed to genuinely taste like a caramel apple. And the smoked caramel macaroon had this not only funky design, but was also salty and sweet. Oh, this is my favorite one. Keeping the caramel train rolling, a triple-decker brownie with salted caramel and Nutella was the best of both worlds. While eating this donut bread pudding was like eating a cinnamon roll. I was practically inhaling it. As someone who isn't a fan of pumpkin spice, this creme brulee pumpkin spice donut surprised me. The caramelized sugar gave a glossy sweetness, but that pumpkin interior had a great deal of cinnamon, which I loved. I made sure to share it with Shane. But what truly melted my mind was this sweet potato cheesecake. Oh my god. This is so fucking good. As if the sweetness and the starchiness of that sweet potato wasn't a good enough match for that cheesecake, I then realized it had toasted marshmallow on top. This was the best cheesecake I've ever had, no exaggeration. The best. So I ate the whole thing. Glazed Gourmet Donuts in Charleston is a massively popular donut shop, so was a must visit. I got two donuts. First, the pistachio vanilla bean. The toasted pistachios on top give it a nice crunch and texture, which pairs nicely with the creamy vanilla center. But then there was the peach cobbler donut, filled with real peaches and genuinely tasted like a peach cobbler filling in the donut. It's one of their flagship donuts, and it's easy to see why this was amazing. In order to choose from all their options, try to get there early so you have as many to choose from as possible, because sometimes they do sell out. Tradesman Brewing Company has a large variety of beers to choose from and an extremely welcoming staff that would love to discuss the beers with you. With a variety of styles like this, the best thing to do is to get yourself a flight. The Barrel-Aged Bricklayer is their red ale that has spent additional time aging in bourbon barrels, and that maltiness of the bourbon flavor complements the toastiness of the red ale. The Don't Monk With Us, a Belgian triple, has sweet notes of honey, but manages not to be too sweet thanks to a combination of spice and floral notes. Know Your Zone was a super easy to drink lager, a perfect crisp drink to have outside during the summer season. Easy to slam down. The Sandbagger Porter was straight porter goodness, with a robust chocolate smell and flavor that just coated your mouth.
Let's get some Belgian style beer, guys!
Munkel was my favorite brewery we visited. It's like a little piece of Belgium right in Charleston. They focus mostly on Belgian and European style beers, so naturally, I had to start with the fruity and boozy Belgian quadruple. Now, while we were enjoying ourselves, we learned of a pop-up restaurant that had come to Munkel, the Castellans. It's a pop-up style restaurant that mixes Spanish food with a South Carolinian twist. They regularly do these pop-ups with a bunch of different breweries in the area, so check their Facebook page for where they will be next. I got a plate of patatas bravas, roasted potatoes with spicy sauces, which helps smoke up some of that alcohol. But the empanadas were absolutely amazing, filled with smoked chicken and goat cheese. These empanadas were an absolute must-try if you have the chance. After trying their malty, sweet bready Pilsner, it was on to the next brewery. Next, we went to Edmunds Brewing Company, a brewery and restaurant which attracts quite the crowd. Both Shane and myself ended up getting their Oktoberfest beer, which both of us were huge fans of. I rounded everything up here with a nice meaty catfish po' boy covered in Cajun spices. Next stop was Brew Lab, and while Shane and Mike enjoyed a little bit of pool, I enjoyed myself a super hazy, juicy IPA. Then after that, I had a car nap. Poogan's Porch for some classic Southern style comfort food. I started with a pecan old fashioned and some of these amazing honey biscuits. Then there was this thick she crab soup. The closest thing this New England boy can compare it to is a top tier clam chowder, but with delicate crab. Follow that up with the Charleston staple, the shrimp and grits. This was extremely filling and super creamy. I absolutely loved it. But despite feeling full, you know I had to push to get myself a slice of pecan pie with some ice cream. I was very much ready to go to bed after this meal. Vicious Biscuit is a great breakfast spot that specializes in, well, biscuits. But they also do some great things like these sweet potato hush puppies, which come with vanilla icing to dip them in. Or this great fried chicken and waffles. But their biscuits are the stars, like these huevos rancheros on a biscuit, or the titular Vicious Biscuit, a cheddar jalapeno biscuit with fried chicken, maple sausage gravy, and candied jalapenos. Next is something a little different. My first night on the trip, I ran into this guy. This is Derek. He's a local to the area and a YouTuber with a channel called The Food Boat. After explaining that I was doing a food tour, he invited me out on his boat, which has a full kitchen setup, to live stream and cook with him. How could I pass that up? Derek's idea was that we make a pimento chopped cheese sandwich. He had me make the pimento cheese from scratch, so I shredded a few blocks of cheese, mixed it together with cream cheese, and then Derek made a special point that we were using Duke's mayonnaise. This mayonnaise is made in South Carolina. Mixed together, and then we added the pimentos and, of course, quite a bit of seasoning. We enjoyed ourselves a little bit of smoked whiskey. I may have cracked a few beers, while Derek lined us up caramelized onions, bacon, and toasted our bread. Then it was time for the beef. I did my best hibachi chef impression, cooking and chopping up the meat, then layered on that freshly made pimento cheese. We assembled our sandwich and enjoyed. Go ahead and check out the Food Boat here on YouTube, and shout out again to Derek for inviting me out. It was a blast. Maybe we can cook again sometime. Next was time for a little bit of seafood at Red's Ice House, located right on the docks. You might even see a fisherman or two filleting fish. Got myself a low country boil, so a spread of corn, potatoes, shrimp, and andouille sausage, all topped with spices. Bit of butter on the side, probably for my corn, but I also used it on my shrimp. Now all the southern style food has been great, but what about a classic burger? Well, Shane and Mike recommend Matt's Burgers, a little place that makes burgers with big flavor. Also, things like these delicious artery-clogging chili cheese fries. But as the name states, the burgers are the stars, and this Matt's special comes with American and hot pepper cheese, a thick slice of ham, bacon crumbles, fried onions, then topped with pickles, mustard, mayo, lettuce, and tomato. As someone that usually doesn't like pickles on his burger, this all paired perfectly together, and I basically inhaled the whole thing. You know I had to fit one more brewery in on this trip, and Holy City Brewing made the list. A cool brewery with a nice taproom area. I had myself the nitroed version of their Mud Bluff Porter, which was super smooth, while Shane enjoyed their Oktoberfest, and I harassed him with my camera. Then I finished off their Citra and Hoppy Paradise Session IPA before moving on to our next meal. Had to run that Southern barbecue back one more time with Home Team Barbecue. Got myself the turkey breast pulled pork and a fatty brisket 3-meat combo. But one thing I did differently here from our first barbecue place was use their sauces. Their sweet red sauce went nice with the tender turkey breast, but my absolute favorite was the mustard sauce. It was a perfect match for the pulled pork. In fact, it was so good, I ended up buying a bottle at the end for myself to take home. The brisket, though, was so fatty and delicious, I let it stand on its own with no sauces. But with all this delicious South Carolina and Southern comfort food, we were missing one place. A place that is a staple for the area and is a must for anyone visiting. Laugh all you want, but this wet menu fast diner restaurant is an embodiment of Southern comfort. And, well, salvation for drunk college students at 3 a.m. I mean, where else can you get 2 eggs, toast, hash browns with cheese, sausage, and a pecan waffle, all for around $12? Just make sure to ask for some of that sweet apple butter for your toast. Believe me, you will thank me later.
If you like this video, feel free to check out one of my other videos, maybe some of my cooking videos, or how about some other great restaurant recommendations. Go ahead and subscribe. Thanks again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.